Hi everybody. So I decided that I wanted to find out what my next 5 reads were. Just literally like 20 minutes ago, I was like, because I was, setting up to do my next review, and I know I had one more book left out of the 5 that I previously picked for me to read, and I was just like, rather than wait till next week, I really want to know right now what my next 5 reads are going to be. So I thought, screw it, I'm gonna do the next picks today, right now. So here we go, a completely spontaneous video decided to be made. I have brought down all of the books that are within this jar, so I can hold them up and I can read the backs and such for you during this video. But yeah, in this jar are a load of books that I wish to read, and I'm just gonna, my priority reads at the moment, I'm just gonna give it a shake, and then I'm gonna pick ones at random. There is, just to clarify, so there are, I think, 14 individual titles and then 1 trilogy, and if I choose the trilogy, I'm counting that as one of the 5 reads. But obviously, because the trilogy that I have, if it gets picked, are big books, I'm going to do 1 review per book. So yeah, so that's kind of happened before so far this year, where I've picked trilogy and such. But yeah, so here we go. Right, okay, first read is going to be, let's do this one that's gone to the palm of my hand. Okay, the first one is, I'm so happy, it's Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I loved this film. So I went to see this film last year. I went to Stratford-upon-Avon, and I randomly found a luxury cinema, just completely out of the blue. I just found it, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris screening was about to, like 20 minutes after I found it, was about to start, and I had nothing to do, and it just started pouring with rain, and I had no umbrella. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go see Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. And I loved the film, so I got the book, and this is the film tie-in cover. This is actually 2 books. This is Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris and Mrs. Harris Goes to New York, and both books are combined. I don't know if the film of Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris just covers the first book, or if it's kind of like an amalgamation of the 2 books. I don't know. I will find out. So Miss Harris is a London char lady who cleans the houses of the rich. One day, when tidying Lady Dant's wardrobe, she comes across the most beautiful thing she has ever seen in her life, a Dior dress. In all her years, she's never seen anything as magical. Determined to make her dreams come true, Mrs. Harris scrimps and saves until she finds enough money to go to Paris. When she arrives at the house of Dior, Mrs. Harris has little idea of how her life is about to be turned upside down, and how many other lives she will transform forever. Always kind and indomitable, Mrs. Harris takes Paris by storm and learns one of life's greatest lessons along the way. It was a wonderful film. I loved every minute of it, and I got it on DVD as soon as it came out, and I actually saw it at my mum and dad's house as well. I took the DVD over to mum and dad's house, and because I was like, Mum, you have to watch this film, you'll love it, and she loved it. So yay! So Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is going to be the first one. Okay, right, book number 2 is, let's go for this one. What is this? This is Mrs. England by Stacey Halls. Now, I got this because I was very intrigued by it, and it was in one of my, trips to Waterstones last year. I think I say that, unsure. Yes, it must have been, because it was last year, because I bought a few books together, and I was like, I had a little bit of a fumble in my book buying, and then I had gone like 6 months this year without buying a book. That was it. So this was last year that I got this, and it's from the author of The Foundling, which I haven't read. I haven't read any of Stacey Hall's work, but I know she's caused a bit of a buzz, as it were, in the literary world. So West Yorkshire, 1904. When newly graduated nurse Ruby May takes a position looking after the children of Charles and Lily in England, a wealthy couple from a powerful dynasty of mill owners, she hopes that it will be the fresh start she needs. But as she adapts to life at the isolated Hardcastle house, it becomes clear that there's something not quite right about this beautiful and mysterious Mrs. England. Ostracised by the other servants and feeling increasingly uneasy, soon a series of strange events will force Ruby to question everything that she thought she knew. So that's Mrs. England. That's book number 2. Oh, exciting. Okay, number 3. Let's see what we've got next. Oh, let's go for this one. It's just popped into the palm of my hand, all folded up neatly. Oh, gosh, okay, it is... Oh, we're back with Kate Morton. Okay, so we have got The Distant Hours. That means the only one I've got left of hers to read is The House of Riverton, which was her very first book. So, ooh, very interesting. So I thought I've had a very interesting time with Kate Morton, because I've either really loved it, or in the case of my most recent read, as you will see in the review, I had some problems. So let's see how I fare with The Distant Hours. So, The Distant Hours. It started with a letter. Edie Birchill and her mother have never been close, but when a long-lost letter arrives one Sunday afternoon with the return address of Milderhurst Castle, Kent, printed on its envelope, Edie begins to suspect that her mother's emotional distance masks an old secret. Evacuated from London as a 13-year-old girl, Edie's mother was chosen by the mysterious Juniper Blythe, what an interesting name, and taken to live at Milderhurst Castle with the Blythe family. 50 years later, Edie too is drawn to the castle and the eccentric sisters Blythe. Old ladies now, the three still live together, the twins nursing Juniper, whose abandonment from her fiance. All the back cover's a bit funny and it's jarred the writing. Her abandonment from her fiance in 1941 plunged her into madness. Inside the decaying castle, Edie begins to unravel her mother's past, but there are other secrets hidden in the stones of Milderhurst Castle, and Edie is about to learn more than she expected. The truth of what happened in the distant hours has been waiting a long time for someone to find it. Ooh, so that's The Distant Hours, book number 3. Okay, number 4. Oh, let's go for this one. Again, wrapped around my finger. Oh my god, I am so happy. I am so freaking happy. It's Confident Women by Tori Telfer. I loved Tori Telfer's first book. I love her podcast, Criminal Broads. I've listened to it fully. I'm on the 3rd listen now of it, fully at the moment. And she is a fantastic true crime writer that's focused on women, and it's her 2nd book. So a collection of diabolically clever con women who have made us their mark, have made the US, should I say, their mark. From Elizabeth Holmes and Anna Delvey to Frank Abagnale and Charles Ponzi, the history of confidence artists is long, venerable, and wildly compelling. And as Tori Telfer reveals, its female practitioners are some of the best or worst in the business. Here, Telfer introduces a host of lady swindlers, some notorious, others forgotten, whose scams range from the outrageous to the deadly, and every shade of grift in between. In 1700s Paris, Jeanne de Saint-Remy, I hope I'm saying that correctly, tricked the royal jewellers out of a necklace made from 647 diamonds by pretending she was best friends with Queen Marie Antoinette. During the Civil War, Lorette Williams, aka Loretta Janta Velasquez, claimed to be a Cuban-American soldier and convinced people she worked for the Confederacy or the Union, depending on whom she was talking to. In the early 1900s, Cassie Chadwick persuaded banks to lend her husband thousands of dollars by saying she was Andrew Carnegie's illegitimate daughter, and men said by using her hypnotic eyes. And in the 1970s, a teenager named Roxy Ann Rice scammed the entire NFL by telling a very strange story. And today, from Beijing to Fort Lauderdale, their scams continue. Oh, I'm so excited. I love Tori Telford. She's just brilliant writer. Her podcast, Criminal Broads, is really great. Listen to it if you haven't. I'm so excited to read her second book. Okay, and here we go. Number 5. Are we going to possibly get the trilogy? I don't know. Let's see. Let's go for this one. Okay, and number 5 is... oh my god. It's a single book, and it's one again. I am very, very excited. It's Trifles Need Not Apply by Camilla Bruce. My god, I just talked about con artists and female killers and such, and this is a fictionalized account of one of them. Oh my god, this is going to be so good. So Bella Sorensen loves men. She loves them to death. Early in her life, Bella Sorensen discovers the world is made only for men. They own everything: jobs, property, wives. But Bella understands what few others do. Where women are concerned, men are weak. A woman unhampered by scruples can take from them what she wants. And so Bella sets out to prove to the world that a woman can be just as ruthless, black-hearted and single-minded as any man. Starting with her long-suffering husband, Mads, Bella embarks on a killing spree, the likes of which has never been seen before nor since. And through it all, her kind older sister, Nellie, can only watch in horror as Bella's schemes to enrich herself and cut down the male population comes to a glorious, dreadful fruition. Based on the true story of Belle Guinness, whose violent deeds began in Chicago in the 1900s, Trifles Need Not Apply is a novelistic tour de force exploring one woman's determination to pay men back for all they have taken. Tori actually did a podcast about Belle, and I think Belle was actually in her Lady Killers book as well. I'd have to double check that to be sure, but yes, Trifles Need Not Apply. Oh my god, this is so good, this lineup. This is brilliant. So 2 of the books I've read previous works of the author, but the other 3 I haven't. So here we go. So in order of what I'll be reading, we've got Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Mrs. England, The Distant Hours, Confident Women, and Trifles Need Not Apply. Oh, wow, what a great lineup. So super excited. And yes, I guess I'll be back. Obviously, my thoughts on the Lighthouse Witches first, and then Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I hope you guys enjoy the next books I'm going to be reviewing. And yeah, let me know what you think of them if you've read any of them. That'd be great. All right then, everyone. Bye.